Some people might say that the bigger problem for Prince Harry and the former royal known as Meghan Markle, the cable TV actresses, they're really transparent. I mean, that's the problem, isn't it? And I find interesting, to be honest, chums, the fact that there Meghan sits down with one of the biggest business news channels in the world, Bloomberg TV, and they never really quizzed her about anything. And the only topics of subjects that she could come up with were Duchess related. And behind the scenes, I was told that, well, she had to be titled Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. Incredible, isn't it? I mean, this is from a whinging couple that have never been happy, apparently, in her short tenure. And of course, apparently the family was just too much to deal with. And they're still waiting for that apology. You break it down and you kind of think if Bloomberg were there, they should have said, well, why don't we just refer to you as Meghan or whatever, your business? Why does it have to be so formal? Why did staff have to refer to her as mom or be told she may ask this? Or incredible, you see what I'm saying? But it's that's the bigger story that's caught my eye, and I wanted to share it with you. Morning, chums, lovely to see you today. Thank you so much for your time, as ever. And as ever, thank you for enjoying many of the videos. I know about the blue plaque and, the video about the comedy grate and the blue plaque being removed. Still can't find anything out. Don't know where it's gone, whether it's been reassigned or put somewhere else. It is terrible, but thank you for your comments and thank you for watching, because it's important, as many of you said, it's, I'd seen it many times. I've gone past that way a lot, and as I say, I went to the unveiling. It was a magical day, and you think, just moved away. Where's it gone? Why are people not treated with respect? Well, I'm done a wave. Nice to see you. Welcome, one and all brand new subscribers. If you are His Majesty the King, whatever our thoughts are about the King and certain things that he does, it must be exhausting, particularly when you're going through your own medical crisis, and to think, now what? Because as we now know, Prince Harry announced to the world that he's returning back here to the United Kingdom for yet another charitable event. And as I said, I found this very odd. What is the attachment to this particular charity that is willing to come halfway around the world? As I also pointed out, this is a double sort of whammy, simply because, there's going to be meetings regarding the other charitable things that he's doing about fundraising. And this is where this gets really interesting, because as you know, Harry very clearly stated that he didn't feel safe coming back to the United Kingdom, and certainly wouldn't be bringing his wife or indeed his children. It's just not safe. He couldn't see a day whenever he could bring them back. I'm sure there were a few cheers inside the palace, particularly from the staff that are suffering from post-traumatic, whatever it's called. You just kind of think, yeah, right, Now, here's where this gets interesting, because according to a very well-placed source, Harry once again will spurn the offer of being able to stay free with accommodation and, of course, security at either St James's Palace or indeed Buckingham Palace. Now, you might say, these are wonderful places at the very heart of London. Nothing wrong with them at all. But according to that source, you see, Prince Harry may even bring the wife back if they're allowed to stay at Windsor. Right. Now, just bear with me on this, because this is important. The thing is, the reason why they're keen on the Windsor idea is not just necessarily to taunt, of course, the Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Catherine, who they do see that as their now home, as we know. And, Windsor's a big estate, but you can't help bumping into people, do you know what I'm saying? Now, you see, Harry's very sort of petulant about the fact that Frogmore Cottage has remained, empty since their departure. Couldn't understand why he couldn't get it back, or indeed rent it out and lease it, Airbnb, whatever you want to call it, from time to time. But you see, the bigger picture is this: it's a lot harder to control Harry and Meghan at Windsor. It's a vast estate. There's different ways to get in. They could hold meetings there. They could be filming, all sorts of things. The situation at St James's Palace is a far tighter nut to control, as it were, and they can't really go in and have or do what they possibly want. Now, I'm not suggesting for that for a moment. However, sources told me that this was really the sort of backbone for Harry. He doesn't like the fact that really he can't offer what he considers to be hospitality if he's meeting someone in what he calls also temporary accommodation. I see both sides, but remember, you made your bed, you got on the Freedom flight, you said that was enough and you wanted to do something differently. As ever, what Harry wants and Meghan wants, they seem to think that they're going to get. But it still stays at that. Now, while people are sort of back and forth, will the king meet him, etc., you know, my surmise is that if it does happen, it will be instigated at the 11th hour from His Majesty the King. It's certainly not going in that place. But as for Harry, you see, Windsor is the preferred location. Apparently it's the scene of many happy memories. Odd. Wasn't what Meghan said in the Oprah Winfrey thing, was it? But suddenly now, oh, it holds so many memories, and he'd like to share those memories now with his older children. You see how they manipulate narrative and all that sort of stuff? Incredible when you think. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.